Thomas, Senior Pastor of Forest Lake United Methodist Church. Thank you for joining us as we look at this week's lectionary readings. Today, let's look at Matthew 13. We'll start with verses 31 through 33. He put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all the seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest of shrubs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nest in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. Then from 44 through 52. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which someone found and hid. Then in his joy he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls. On finding one pearl of great value, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was thrown into the sea and caught fish of every kind. When it was full, they drew it ashore, sat down, and put the good into baskets, but threw out the bad. So it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come out and separate the evil from the righteous, and throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Have you understood all this? They answered, Yes. And he said to them, Therefore every scribe who has been trained for the kingdom of heaven is like the master of a household, who brings out of his treasure what is new and what is old. This week's gospel reading includes several short parables about the importance and the pervasiveness of the kingdom of heaven. Let's highlight one of those parables that can be read at least 2 different ways. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which someone found and hid. Then in his joy he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. First, Jesus seems to be suggesting that this new kingdom life that he is preaching is worth more than all that we have. When we discover the goodness of the kingdom of heaven, we will be ready to trade everything else in exchange for it. Certainly the disciples made this trade. They left homes and jobs and security to follow Jesus. For them, the kingdom was of invaluable treasure. I hope you'll consider with me that the kingdom of heaven is that valuable. Even if your experience of religion falls short, will you consider with me that there's something about following Jesus that's worth everything? A second way of reading the parable hints at how much God values you. What if the person in the field who finds the treasure is Jesus? What if you are that treasure? Well, then the kingdom of heaven is a reality in which Jesus searches for and finds you, and having found you, trades all that he has, his very life, to claim you as his own. That's exactly what Jesus did at the cross. He traded everything in order to have a relationship with you. Jesus treasures you that deeply. The kingdom of heaven begins for us as soon as we enter into that loving relationship with God and one another. Let's step into the kingdom of heaven today.